Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 10th of December. Hope you all are doing well. We're off the back of a EU Championship weekend, which was fantastic. Definitely driving the meta. Seeing a ton of prices on some of these card swings. Some of the popular cards are getting more popular. And despite the massive influx of singles, we are not seeing any sort of drop in expected value. We're actually seeing expected value spike on the back of 800 plus boxes being cracked over the last week or so. Just some insane volume going on right now, which is really promising to see in terms of like long-term trends, but even in the short term as it relates to Azurite Sea, some pretty dramatic movement. And honestly, movement that I'm surprised about from a like an EU tournament that's driving this much price action, even on like TCG player, obviously those players are very skilled and it's going to resonate directly. There's going to be a correlation between the NA tournament that's going to happen here in terms of NA championships, but like it's just made the prices go wild on some of these cards. And I just wasn't expecting it to move it that much. Definitely was expecting some sort of tertiary bump on some of the like cards that stood out in that tournament. But it's sent them insane. Starting with none other than the Genie, now the second most valuable card in the set, a rare, which is just absolutely insane. Cheapest copy on the market is $20 all in. And there's only a couple at that price, and then you're going up from there to 21. This card, let's see, our cheapest playset would be interesting. $20 a piece, $1 shipping, so it'd come out to 20-25. But yeah, just absolutely insane volume on this particular card. People are liking their Genie. So this is what it gives in terms of like collector's point of view to switch the lens here. If you are a collector and you like these enchanteds, this is kind of dream scenario because the enchanteds are super cheap. The playable cards continue to like they go up. They see this massive influx of volume. Supply goes up with it, and then we're kind of in the same spot as we were prior, where the Shark's still over $30. We've got a rare that's at $20. Obviously, if you pull these in a cold foil version, going to be double, triple that. And you've got a lot of cards in the set that are commanding a good value still. Even Calhoun is still at $9 all in, right? And so that just speaks to once again the strength of the set and that ability to open these packs, take your chance at an enchanted and sell off the ones that you don't want. I think Azurite Sea is shaped up to be a very, 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 very good set as it relates to that. Now, obviously, a lot of us don't love the enchanted as much as the previous ones, and so I would say there's probably not as many collectors on this set as there are some previous sets. But with that being said, a lot of people like the set as well. But I think, I just think that it's a really good set. If you like the enchanteds, you're eating right now for sure. We look at cold foils, actually not bad. Genie down at 29. I thought it was going to be closer to 40 like we were seeing last week. Okay, those are light played. So near mint, 33, 34. Not bad in terms of cold foil. Very, very good. Very, very good opportunity. If you pull one, if you pull a rare Genie, that's essentially a third of your booster box pretty much in terms of cost being covered than any other legendaries and enchanted, etc. You're piling on top of that. Calhoun up at $16.20 for the lowest cold foil on the market. And there's only 4 or 10 listings available in total. Those are where your biggest premiums are in terms of like the rare and the legendaries. Obviously, Maui up at 50. As we get into some of the commons and uncommons, though, some major potential here. Diablo Obedient Raven, cheapest cold foil on the market is $9. I sold this one for $8 a couple of weeks ago. It dropped down to like $6, and now it's all the way back up to $9. So once again, talk about these meta-defining cards and this EU tournament really shaping what we're seeing on TCG Player. A cold foil uncommon back up to $8 or $9, which is just that's hype. There's a lot of people that want the shiny cards in their deck, and that's leading to a really good price point there. We have Sealed Azurite Sea at $6, cheapest on the market for I apologize, that was wrong. It was with shipping. So you're essentially $8 for the cheapest cold foil common Sealed the Azurite Sea on the market. So once again, this is it'll be a good learning opportunity moving forward as you get these, you pull these meta cards, right? Because a lot of people were hyping up Sail the Azurite Sea and Genie and things like that before this huge spike, right? Before the set even released, like those were a lot of cards that were on people's radar. Obviously holding on to something like that is going to be meta defining typically is going to pay out because there's as we see, there is no shortage in demand, right? People want these cards. The game is growing at an insane rate. The player base appears to be growing as well. You would think that this set is going to be one of their most printed sets based on the sheer demand for it, and prices continue to just go wild. And so I there's got to be, I don't know. This is a very interesting set. I think that I'm just very surprised that we didn't see a massive cliff over the last week, even with the EU tournament, because the sheer amount of boxes that were bought. I mean, when we think to the Black Friday sale on TCG Player, I think there was like 100 something cases bought and like 400 or 500 or no, more than that. I think probably overall when you look at cases and individual boxes, you're probably looking at over 1,000 combined for that, kind of 4 to 5 day stretch, and that's just so many singles, and it really has not phased the popular cards. A lot of them have still gone up. So once again, I think that just speaks to the strength of the overall market. And Azurite Sea is continuing to feast. So expected value for Azurite Sea, it had dropped off a little bit, and then the last 2 days it has gone back up, which is pretty rare. But it's back up to, I think, around 112 is your expected value for the Azurite Sea, which is really, really nice. I will say we went back and looked at previous sets and put them like this far along into their cycle, and it was pretty similar, to be honest, between Azurite Sea and a lot of the other ones. Even Ursula's Return at this point was holding very strong, and so I think maybe a little bit of recency bias has us thinking the Azurite Sea is stronger than some of the other sets, when in reality it's just kind of holding the line with what a lot of other sets do. So I think that has something to do with it. I was very surprised to see that, because in my mind, I think Azurite Sea, it was one of the strongest sets that's been released. At least it's like Inklings to now, because set 1 and set 2 are kind of an anomaly. It was a much different game back then, much different environment, much different ecosystem. But at this point, I think Inklings on, I was surprised to see how many of them have kind of remained the same kind of cycle in terms of expected value at the start, and then coming down as time goes on. Obviously, we did see Azurite Sea bounce back like $3 or $4 over the last couple of days on the back of the EU tournament. Baymax is still the most expensive enchanted, sitting at $169 for a light blade copy, $181 for a near mint copy. Very curious to see if we've had any volume here. We had one sale yesterday, a couple sales the day before. Okay, so pretty consistent volume here. More buying than I thought. I thought after we saw that massive run up to the 250, I thought we were going to see a pretty significant decline, which I mean $70 in a week is. But I'm surprised to still see the volume where it's at. So this appears to still be a very collectible card, very collectible chase card. Baymax getting his due, amazing character, fan favorite. Some other low listings, you came back is at 120 right now, only 11 on the market. Very playable. A lot of people want it. 120 is the lowest. Taking a look at volume. Nothing yesterday, but there were quite a few sales on the 8th. Probably going to hold pretty strong around the 120. I could see it maybe getting down into 110. So if you're looking for this card, keep monitoring it. Hasn't had a sale in a couple days. You might see some cheaper prices ahead. Other than that, enchanted listings across the board. I want to check Gadget, but other listings look pretty consistent here. Hack Rich is pretty much at 100. All in, and her volume, once again, she saw some sales on the 8th, nothing on the 9th, nothing today, one on the 7th, so she's slowing down quite a bit. So this is one that I would say definitely wait on, in my opinion. I think that we're going to continue to see the listings grow. Once again, a ton of boxes are still being opened, guys, and so, I remain steadfast. Look, we have never seen a rare be this valuable. Maui at its peak maybe hit it a couple times. It kind of stayed around, and I'm talking first chapter Maui, not Shark Maui. Stayed around, $15 for a while, and it's kind of been in between $15 and $10. Right now, I think that it is around $10, maybe even a little bit less. Yeah, $10 essentially. So, I mean, that speaks to, that's one of the most playable cards of all time. You need a 4 of if you're playing Ruby, very popular color, first chapter, etc., and it is half the cost of a genie, right? And so that means one of two things: that either the genie is that good that it's commanding double the premium, or there's just not enough out there yet to outweigh the supply and demand. And I truthfully, with all those boxes being opened and it's still remaining this high, I in my heart of hearts, I think this will be a sub $15 card at some point. Now, is that, worth waiting months to get it a couple dollars cheaper? I don't know. But this card, it's it is the best set from best card from Azurite Sea by a mile. This card is outperforming any other card we've seen in recent sets in terms of their rare slot. And honestly, Calhoun's getting overshadowed. That card is amazing and being bought at a tremendous rate as well. But it's just not as good as the Genie. But just I mean, look, 225 sales, 196, 177, 529. 289, 237, 275, 604, 873, 33. Like, since inception, this card has just been getting bought in an insane volume, man. I mean, look, people were selling it for $7. Crazy times. $2. $2 range. $2 to $10. Man, those people are like, what in the heck? What is going on with this card? What in the world's happening? But overall, that's, Azurite Sea, the cold foil prices, the rare prices, just everything is, it's clicking right now. We'll see what happens as we get into the NA Continentals, and then especially into Worlds, things like that. Shaping up to be 2025 is going to be an awesome year because we've got, like, I just think the hype around Worlds, like, don't sleep on what a catalyst that can be. And I guess we'll end today's video. I mean, it's only been 12 minutes, but I'll talk about this for a while. I really think, and I've said this for a while, and I apologize if it's getting monotonous, but like, you know, for example, if you just look at like non-Azurite Sea cards, right? So I know a lot of you that watch this channel are collector focused like me, more so than the player focused. I know a lot of us do both, right? And so we talked about the playability a lot, but when we talk about the cards in terms of from a collectability standpoint, like, don't underestimate this machine and this ecosystem that we're in whenever these like NA Continentals happen, sorry for the mic there, at Disneyland, and then when Worlds happen at Disney World. Like, you think about the sheer amount of people who are going to be boots on the ground there. They have no clue what Lorcana is yet, but they're going to see the hype around it. I'm sure Disney is going to be marketing that stuff everywhere. Ravensburger is going to have it everywhere. Probably going to get some news coverage, some media coverage. The first Worlds event at Disney World, right? Like, that is going to move the needle in a significant margin, in my opinion. Maybe not the weekend of or the week of, but it's going to entrench so many people and expose them to what this is. And I think that that's going to be a major catalyst moving forward. So at times like this, where like I said, like the Elsa isn't moving a ton, or like, you know, whatever card you want to collect, maybe it's the Ariel, Long Came Zeus, Tiana, you know, you name it. Obviously older, the better here would be my recommendation. But if there's a card that you've been looking on, save up your budget and try and get it, right? I think that a lot of these older cards, in terms of the enchanteds and the collectabilities, the promos, etc., are at a very, very fair cost. And if we see any sort of Black Swan event in terms of overall demand going up, these cards are going to skyrocket. And I don't say that to say like, oh, easy stonks, going to the moon, whatever. I just don't want you to miss out on your collection goals if you have any that include these cards. I would say buy them sooner rather than later. I would not wait on them. I think that these are the lowest that we're going to see in a long time for these cards. Now, look, and I'm not saying that they'll never go low. They might go down 5%. They might go 10% from where they are today. I don't know the short term. But I feel very strongly that we're going to get into some pretty good growth cycles here. And so if there's, you know, and Elsa, for example, like the Chase, the most basic like Chase card in Lorcana, obviously a very hefty price, $850, low list for a near mint copy. You know, not it's a very significant cost to bear. But if it's one you want, like this card could easily, we've seen this card hit $1,500 raw already, and that's when, you know, the game was very new. You had a year on it, 2 years on it, 3 years on it, it's out of production, etc. I mean, like, you got to think about it. This card was at, you know, 1,200 to 1,500 consistently raw before we got that massive restock in March. And that increase in volume and overall supply dropped the price down. I think we saw it get as low as maybe like 600-700, and then it slowly creeped its way back up to almost to 900 to 1,000 again. And that was with the supply going up significantly, right? If that restock had never happened, I mean, and once again, I think that was good for the game. I think we needed it. No complaints on my end. But like, if there might only be like, there's 19 listings right now, there might only be 8 listings on the market. And then is it a $2,000 card already, or is it a $3,000 card? Is it 1,500, right? I don't know, but that huge supply increase is the only reason why it's where it is at now. as the Disney, umbrella continues to sweep more and more people into Lorcana, that card is it's one that I think will be, a year from now. If you tell me that Elsa is $2,000-$3,000, I would not be surprised at all. I don't know that for a fact. I cannot see the future. Do not take my words there as, oh, this card's going to triple over the next year. At the end of the day, I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that it's been in a very level spot for a long time, and as we get into some of these events at Disneyland, Disney World, the media attention, etc., I think it's going to be a major catalyst for growth for the entire game. And so, I would not buy anything in hopes of like, you're going to make some easy money or anything like that. Like, my whole thesis about that could be completely wrong. And then you're just buying a card that you don't like in hopes that it triples, and then it doesn't. And then you get your legs cut out from under you. It went down a little bit. You sold it because you didn't really like it. You were scared. And then, you lost 20%. You held it for 6 months. I don't know. Just buy the cards that you like. My kind of core pillars have always been the same. Create goals. Go after those goals, buy cards that you like, try and time it as well as you can, right? I think a lot of these cards are in a very, very good spot. And then that way, should you miss it by 5 or 10% off the low, whatever, 20%, that way you become agnostic to the price and you're not selling it just because it's going down, because it's a card you already wanted to have in your collection, and you're not checking the price every day because it's going up or down $5, $10, $20, whatever. That would be my advice now. And once again, prioritize some older promo cards, first chapter, Rise of the Floodborn, some of those older sets that are maybe a little bit underprinted. Like, I remain head over heels for the Cinderella Ballroom Sensation. I think that card is going to do great long term. The set championship Stitch, I think, is going to do amazing long term. I think there's a lot of really, really good cards that are in a great spot right now that, if you wait 6 months to a year and that cycle happens with Worlds and everything like that, I just think it might be too little too late, I guess would be my thought process there, when you're going to look back and say, why didn't I buy those cards now? I think is kind of how we're going to look back at it. But with that being said, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Azurite Sea continues to kill it. Huge movement off the back of the EU championships. And we've got some really, really cool products coming out that we have some videos coming out about. Like that Lilo box. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's got booster box or booster packs from set 2 to set 6. It's got a unique full art in there. Like, Ravensburger gets it. And they get it at a very high level, and you got to give them time, be patient. But this team they are delivering at a very, very high rate, and that product is something I'm very, very excited for. So with that being said, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with another video soon.